The Fantasy Pros Fantasy Fest 2023 continues right here on our YouTube channel. Subscribe today, click the bell till it goes ding, and like the stream. And today we've got more fantasy football talk than you could possibly handle. And we're going to keep going all day from 3 to 9 tonight. Just all the fantasy talk you can possibly imagine. And don't forget, if you miss any of this today or you want to go back and hear some of it, it's all going to be there on the YouTube channel anyway. It's also going to be the best of the fest coming out, the audio version tomorrow as well. And we've got more incredible guests joining us, and I feel underdressed. Mason Dodd joining us from the Fantasy Flock always comes well dressed. I only wear my jacket on Sunday mornings for football, but Mason always wears the jacket. And then Derek Brown outdoing all of us. He has got the backwards trucker hat, and he's also got the tuxedo t-shirt. D-Bro, is that what you wore on your wedding? Because it still fits, and that's impressive.
Joe, I take all chances to sit here and dress up for big occasions, so I couldn't sit here and come into this with just a regular t-shirt, not to sit here and throw you under the bus, but it happened.
Well, yeah, okay.
But I think I did don this with some sandals as we got married on the beach. I was very well dressed, sir. Thank you very
There
much.
you go. Mason Dodd, it's great to see you again, my friend. Everybody knows Mason from the Fantasy Flock over on YouTube. Huge YouTube channel. Mason, we've been talking about this with all the guests. How many drafts do you have remaining ready to still be drafted the next couple days?
I think I have 500 under my belt, and I think I'm probably going to try to squeeze in another 100 or so by the time the season gets here.
Another 100 or so? That'd be best balls we're talking, right? I mean, you can't
Oh,
be doing...
yeah, definitely. I have like
okay.
20 dynasty leagues. Probably do 1 to 2 more redraft leagues. It's just hard. I'm live streaming every Sunday morning to have just regular redraft leagues popping up.
You know what I can't wait for, Derek? When Mason sometime, eventually down the road gets married, has kids and all that stuff. I want to see how many fantasy leagues he could manage after that. That's what I want to see, Mace. But we're going to talk about league winners because you guys are league winners here. And we're going to try to give you some names here that we think can help you at different ADPs, potentially get you over that hump and win that league. And don't forget, today's stream is brought to you by bettingpros.com. We want you to go over there and subscribe to Betting Pros podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Click the bell till it goes ding. I will be hosting the NFL show there with all my pals, Fitzy, Andrew Erickson, Sam Hoppin. We're going to be talking all sorts of betting every single day. Scott Bogman's going to be joining me on that show as well. And we have an amazing contest going on, bettingpros.com/NFL contest, where we're doing all kinds of giveaways. You make 5 picks per week. We're giving away free upgrades. We're giving away free swag, all kinds of incredible things, including the grand prize. The big winner is going to win a Jackson Smith and Jigba autographed jersey. So join us. Go to the community tab on the new Betting Pros app. Go join the NFL contest, or just go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Just easy like that. All right, gentlemen, let's start with you, Mason. You are our guest. Let's talk about some league winners because that's what we're here to do. I know you talk all the time. There's going to be 11 losers out of the 12, but not us. We're the league winners. So I want you to give me a league winning name.
Yeah, I'm going to have to follow it up with the same guy that we had last year. I'm going to have to go through and get our most drafted running back in Josh Jacobs. And if we're looking at Jacobs here, I mean, this is a running back that last year was the RB3 from a points per game perspective, only behind Eckler and Christian McCaffrey in a full PPR format. And I thought we want to get a discount. I thought Jacobs would be round 1 across the board. But what's very interesting is I see a lot of people in my YouTube comment section telling me that you can't draft a running back coming off a massive workload. So I actually dove into the numbers and looked at every running back 26 years old or younger to come off a season with over 300 carries and 50 or more receptions. The following year, 50% of the time, that guy is a top 6 option in fantasy. 75% of the time, they're an RB1. 90% of the time, they're a top 24 RB. Only 12.5% of the time are they not inside the top 24 running backs, aka they got injured the next season. So I don't know where the running back coming off a massive workload thing comes from. It's definitely all over my comment section, but I'm willing to go through. I'm willing to draft Josh Jacobs. I mean, he's being drafted right now as like the RB8, RB9, depending on the platform you're on.
All right. I have one question for you, Mace, just to follow up on that real quick, because yeah, some of that data you're talking about the age of the running backs, but what about the workload just on its own? Because I saw someone put out some really interesting data that was basically the last 10 years, only 2 running backs finished as basically an RB1. It was 2018. It was Zeke after the biggest workload, and obviously it was a really good offensive line. He finishes RB3. One other guy, I think it was Shady McCoy, finishes RB12. All the other guys missed significant time the following season. Now, I know that can vary depending on the size of a player, not just the age, but does any of that data worry you when it comes to Josh Jacobs, or are you getting enough discount on Jacobs in order to invest regardless of that concern?
That's not going to worry me because if you're looking at the guy who actually led the NFL in touches, you're looking at a sample size of 1. So when it's that small of a sample size, I'm not going to be too concerned, where I'm still going to go ahead and draft the guy.
Okay. All right, Derek Brown, let's go to you. Give me a league winner in 2023 on the board that you want on your team.
I'm going to start with the top of the mountain here, guys. I'm going to go to Tony Pollard, my RB1 overall. I want to sit here and draft him. He should not be available in second rounds, but alas, here we are. Still a second round pick and the easiest second round pick you can make in all of your drafts. I mean, all of the things are there, people. He is one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL. Ezekiel Elliott didn't re-sign in Dallas. They didn't bring in Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, all these other backs and reasons that people have talked themselves out of Tony Pollard. And what has changed? Nothing. He's still in one of the best offenses in the NFL. He's first in explosive run rate, first in yards after contact per attempt for fantasy points data last year. The guy's electric. Austin Eckler 2.0. So if I'm going to win leagues this year, and I am because I've already drafted a ton of Tony Pollard, it's the guy that I got to sit here and start the list with.
I want to keep with you here for a second, Derek, and I want to ask you a quick question. Tell me, it's getting out there too. Like we had John Daigle on, who you may or may not sometimes get confused for out there in the streets. John
sometimes
also a great football mind, very big on Tony Pollard. I guess here's the big question I asked John. I'm going to ask you. Just because you have this guy ranked where he is, do you still want to take him where he is, or do you want to take him over the Saquons and over the Ecklers in that first round?
If I have to take him in the first round, I have no qualms about doing that. And I will take him over Eckler. I will take him over Saquon. Saquon, I'm actually hard fading this year. His efficiency metrics dropped off towards the back end of last year. And I think we're going to see more passing out of the Giants. I'm going to little tease for the next player that I'm going to get to on this list. But yeah, Saquon's definitely going to be lower on Pollard than Pollard in all my ranks.
Nobody likes a tease. So why don't we just get with your next player on your list? Go ahead. Who do you have?
Darren Waller, baby. Been singing his praises all offseason, and I'm not going to stop now. Like, Darren Waller, all the talent has not gone anywhere. I get that people worry about the injury concerns, but injury bias and people getting burned in the last year, the last 2 years, it's the easiest data point or thing to sit here and fade in drafts, and we want to embrace risk. If you want first place, I know everybody watching this wants first place in their league. We're not playing for second. We're not playing for third, fourth, fifth, whatever. Darren Waller's the guy that's going to carry you to first place this year. He's one of a handful of tight ends, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, that can threaten for 130 plus targets this season. And yet, I know that the ADP is screaming up right now. I get that. You could still get him in the 5th round of drafts. And for me, that's amazing. For a guy that could threaten Travis Kelce for the tight end 1 overall this season, he's been going too late in drafts all year, and he's a massive league winner.
All right, one more question. Has it gone so much now? Because I see Darren Waller getting drafted sometimes now ahead of George Kittle. I've seen him going ahead of Pitts. You're still on board with that? Like, that's not too much risk for you. Not to say that Kittle and Pitts are without their risk, but let's be honest. Waller at his age and Waller the last 2 seasons missing the amount of games he has, I understand wanting to be in the mix, but I feel like, even at tight end, I want all the upside, but I don't want all of the risk at the same time. I feel like that's too much. You don't, though.
I don't. And if you look at George Kittle, he's in my player to avoid article on FantasyPros. It's because of all the things that George Kittle did great last year, the touchdowns were an outlier. That's not coming back. He's never scored more than 6 in a season. Kyle Pitts, we're looking at his preseason usage, and he's a 60% route per dropback guy. Maybe that climbs higher, but does he get to 80%, 90%? We've seen what Arthur Smith wants to do. No, I'm going to invest in Darren Waller. And I know one player that you hate the fact that he's getting drafted over, Joe. So I'm going to sit here and sneak this in the side door.
If you say
I'll
over
take Darren Waller.
Nope,
I'll take Darren Waller over TJ Hawkinson.
Get out of my stream.
It's out there.
Get out of my stream. I don't want you in the stream anymore. This is why we can't have nice things, people. Waller was fun when he was tight end 8. It's less fun when he's tight end 2.
I'm tight end 2 in my ranks all off season. Everybody's just now catching up, Joe.
Let's get back to Mason Dodd instead, so I don't lose my mind completely on this show. Mason, give me another guy that could be a league winner in your opinion.
If we are keeping at tight end, I'm going to go from everybody's favorite tight end to most likely everybody's most hated tight end, and that's going to be Kyle Pitts. Nobody likes Kyle Pitts, right? I know everybody's going to be rolling their eyes going, Mason, are we being serious? But there are a couple undeniable things when it comes to Pitts. One, we can all agree he was the best tight end prospect ever. Two, he was the best rookie tight end ever. I mean, he goes out there and at 21 years old, the only player to have more receiving yards on a per game basis at 21 was Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Juju, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, and Amari Cooper. Then we move on past that, and you look at Kyle Pitts last season, actually increasing his target share in this offense to 24% on a per game perspective. But the issue was the Atlanta Falcons had the second worst passing offense the NFL has seen over the past decade. So yeah, of course, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, these guys scored 0 points because it's going to be a team that runs the ball nonstop. But if I'm looking at Drake London right now going in round 4, it kind of seems like people are saying, okay, well, with London, he's going to be able to overcome it. But with the tight end that is going to be comparable with his target share, still younger than Zay Flowers. Kyle Pitts is younger than Zay Flowers. I'm seeing him now be drafted after Zay Flowers in drafts. I'm seeing him go alongside wide receiver 4s that I think he probably outscores this season. So even if it's the grossest thing ever, and I know everybody's going to hate to hear it, I think at this price where he's fallen over the past month, Kyle Pitts is now very appealing.
I think he's very appealing. I agree with you, Mason Dodd. So to heck with all those haters. Don't listen to them. I think they're 100% wrong. I think Pitts is a huge value, especially in things like the Fantasy Pros Championship that we got going on FFPC right now, where you're seeing this tight end market just go all over the place. And don't forget, there's still time to get involved in that too. Again, fantasypros.com/championship. We're giving away $1 million top prize, $6 million in prizes overall, not to mention free upgrades to Betting Pros and the Fantasy Pros as well. So sign up today and use that promo code Fantasy Pros. That way you get that discount too, $25 off when you use that promo code Fantasy Pros and sign up again at fantasypros.com/championship. All right, D-Bro, back to you. Give me another league winner on the list. Who do you have?
We're talking about the FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship, a guy that has been screaming up the boards, much like Darren Waller. People are waking up to it, and I'm going to chase it up the boards, guys. James Cook, baby. League winner extraordinaire. He has the talent. He's in one of the best offenses in the NFL, and regardless of whatever we want to talk about, is him as a standalone talent. Him as in the offense that he's in. We want to be investing in good offenses in fantasy. And we know that the Bills are going to score a ton of points, 3rd in points per game, 6th in red zone scoring attempts per game. James Cook, what he brings to the table is a dynamic 3-down skill set. I've said it all offseason, and I'll say it again here. He is discount Jahmyr Gibbs. 1st in explosive run rate, 15th in yards after contact per attempt, and top 12 in yards per route run. Everybody can focus on the Damian Harris goal line plunge all you want to from preseason. What I will focus on is the fact that James Cook was the guy on the rest of that drive. So if they're in 1-2 yard goal line dive situations, Josh Allen's going to take some of those. Damian Harris might take some of those. James Cook is also going to get some of that work. And one thing I could definitely tell you is Damian Harris is not running pass game routes over James Cook. Give me this league winning upside all day.
I'm buying in too. I'm shocked, D-Bro, that the James Cook stock hasn't risen higher than it is right now.
Agreed.
I think had he scored the touchdown on that drive and not Damian Harris, and I know that sounds so ridiculous because it's one
but
moment.
It's true.
But it's absolutely true. It's the perception of, oh no, this is a microcosm of the entire season, which could be, but it doesn't mean it's going to be just because it happened in that one moment. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I love it, and I'm actually grateful. In fact, I'm going to send Damian Harris a nice edible arrangement for falling in the end zone there and scoring that touchdown because it's kept the James Cook value lower than it should be, and I love it, and I keep getting him everywhere in drafts, and I love how you framed it too, the discount Jahmyr Gibbs. I always like doing that, saying, look, if you like this player, chances are a few rounds later there's somebody else that fits that bill. Mason Dodd, give me another league winner who fits that bill in your opinion.
I'm going to go ahead and look at Christian Watson. Now, Watson has a pretty big red flag on his profile, which is what I want to talk about first. And that's going to be the touchdown rate. Christian Watson only had 4.5 targets per game last year, but had over half a touchdown per game. I mean, this is someone that was at a 10.61% touchdown rate, and that 100% is going to come back down to earth. And that's what we saw with Chase Claypool getting really overhyped after his rookie season. But the fundamental difference that you have between, say, Christian Watson's rookie season and Chase Claypool's rookie year is if you look at his yards per route run. Christian Watson was at 2.6 for his yards per route run last year. And that was only behind Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp. Now, of course, I have no idea if Jordan Love's going to be any good. I wish I could sit here and say, I'm an expert quarterback scout. No, of course, I have no idea. But I'm trying to chase players that have upside in fantasy. We got a glimpse of Christian Watson being an elite level talent last year. You're getting a discount because of the uncertain quarterback play. And sometimes you do have to go through and roll that dice later on in fantasy football drafts, of course.
Yeah. Don't forget, everybody. Again, we're talking about league winners. So league winners get championships, and championships should always come from Trophy Smack. And if you want a chance to win a glorious 36-inch fantasy championship trophy for your league, courtesy of our good friends over at Trophy Smack, the #1 destination for epic fantasy tournament trophies, you need to subscribe to Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Go do that right now. Drop a comment below in this video, and that's it. That's all you got to do. We'll be announcing the winner later today, so get on it. You're watching us live. Drop the comment, subscribe, click the little bell till it goes ding too, so you know when you've won this amazing belt. The Trophy Smack belts are amazing. I've got many up here in the rich mahogany behind me in these bookshelves of these fantasy trophies. And let me tell you, Derek Brown got to hold my Trophy Smack trophy a couple weekends ago. They're heavy. They are the real deal, the high quality. Derek, what was it like to hold that championship in your hand? Is that a game-changing experience for you?
Joe, we're not going to talk about me holding your trophies on this stream.
Well,
I just feel like it's inappropriate and wrong. We're not going to talk about that. It's a sensitive subject, sir.
We'll extend it by an hour. We'll see how things go. All right, let's continue to move on here. Derek Brown, back to you. Give me another name, in your opinion, that is worthy of the title league winner.
Well, Joey, I know you're going to like this one. Keenan Allen, baby. I want the wide receiver 1 tied to Justin Herbert this year. Chargers are going to lead the NFL in passing attempts. Let's just get it out there. So all of the parts or pieces of this offense, buy in, baby. Like, look, people talk about Keenan Allen like he's old, he's dust, he's terrible, he's injury prone, he cannot stay on the field. We saw that last year, and that was it. You go back to every previous season before that, lock set for 15 games. When he was on the field last year, he was fantastic. He was the wide receiver 3 in fantasy points per game, weeks 12 through 18. He logged his highest yards per route run since 2018. This team is going to run a ton of plays. And all we want in all of that play volume is passing attempts and opportunities for fantasy points. And baby, we're going to get it. Keenan Allen is a threat to lead the NFL in receptions if he stays healthy this year. In PPR leagues, hell, non-PPR leagues, go get him. The volume's going to be awesome, and I think he still has a fantastic year ahead of him.
And look, you're not going to be able to get all these players, too. Christian Watson, I think, is one that is really easy to get, where his ADP is currently, because the market is unsure. They don't know how to react to Jordan Love yet. They know how to react to Christian Watson. I can ask you this question here, T-Bro. If Aaron Rodgers was still quarterback of the Packers, where would Christian Watson be getting drafted right now?
He'd be going exactly where Chris Olave is. Christian Watson would
Really?
be going in the second round, back into the second round. I fully believe that, because he'd be getting the same exact puff and praise as Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, good stuff there. All right, and look, Keenan Allen, obviously another one of these league winners, as D-Bro's talking about. I gotta also remind everybody too, because like I said, you can't draft all these guys. You want to draft as many of them as you can, but the other place you can use them is DFS. So Derek and I are going to be hosting the DFS show every Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, live on AMP. So go check that out. If you haven't already, download the app. It is really cool. You can interact with us live there on the show, which is awesome. So we're going to be, again, every Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, D-Bro and I talking DFS, getting you ready for the whole slate. It's going to be like a half hour, just recap. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, Bogman and Welsh are going to preview Thursday Night Football, get you all ready for that to set your lineup. So join us on AMP. Interact with us on AMP. Lots of cool ways to check out the Fantasy Pros show. All right, Mason, let's get to another one of your names on your list of league winners. Who do you have?
We're going to go a little bit deeper here. We're going to go over to Elijah Mitchell. Now, of course, median projection doesn't have Elijah Mitchell winning you your league. But at the end of the day, this is a running back that will have a role on a week-to-week basis. I mean, you saw this at the end of last year where he still was going out there and was still, getting involved, particularly in the red zone with the healthy Christian McCaffrey. So I think if you are, say, in week 8, you're getting destroyed by bye weeks, you have a running back injury, and you really need to, sure, you can go ahead and you can put Elijah Mitchell into your starting lineup. But I'm more so rostering him given the hidden handcuff appeal and that behind CMC with Elijah Mitchell, there's nobody else on this roster. And we saw back 2 years ago with Elijah Mitchell as a rookie, him go out there and average 100 total yards per game. I think seeing Trey Lance out of San Francisco and Brock Purdy at quarterback, while it maybe pains my soul, is still going to give a boost to these skill positional guys in San Francisco, because you're not going to have to compete with a Trey Lance type quarterback going through and maybe stealing a rushing touchdown at the goal line. So overall, I really like the range of outcomes for Elijah Mitchell, but clearly he's not a quote unquote league winner unless CMC were to go down.
Yeah, but it's intriguing because it's free. D-Bro, that's how I look at Elijah Mitchell too. Or Mason saying the same thing. Like, you stash him on the bench, and if you do get that injury or a few missed games in a row for Christian McCaffrey for any reason, which is not out of the range of outcomes, all of a sudden Mitchell becomes a really intriguing piece and a valuable one in a trade too. Are you somebody that's targeting Mitchell?
Oh, yeah. I'm targeting Mitchell in a lot of drafts. And I've been screaming this all offseason, guys, and people don't want to hear it. It's exactly why I have CMC not inside of my top 3 running backs, because people want to firmly dismiss what Elijah Mitchell did last year, and you don't need to. Like, Mason was talking about it. When these two guys were active, you had Elijah Mitchell taking more of the red zone carry percentage than even freaking CMC. But people just want to wish that away and pretend like it didn't happen. Like, CMC's points per game didn't drop from almost 25 points per game to 16.7. That didn't happen. Nothing to see here. All good. Just draft CMC as your top 3 back. No, I'm not in on that. I'm in on drafting a lot of Elijah Mitchell late. Sign me up.
Maybe instead of yelling it, you try like that ASMR stuff where you just whisper it into the microphone. That's very big. Mason does that sometimes on the Flock channel. Like when he's talking about Elijah Mitchell, he just gets real close to the microphone.
Yeah, get some potato chips out, rub them against the mic.
Yeah, I was gonna. All right, we got one league winner left to talk about. Mason Dodd, pick it up for us. Take us home. Give us your final remaining guy on the list of league winners.
It's boring because nobody's going to debate me with it. Jalen Hurts is the QB1. He was the QB1 last year. Situation arguably got better. Best offensive line in the NFL. He averaged 50 rushing yards per game last season. And last year was so good for Jalen Hurts. The only quarterbacks to average more points per game in a season in fantasy football history was Patrick Mahomes 2018, Aaron Rodgers 2011, Peyton Manning 2013, Lamar Jackson 2019. I mean, I think that with Jalen Hurts, I'm completely fine taking him in round 2, locking in the top 5 quarterback finish literally every single week, and then just not having to roster a backup quarterback on your bench and instead focusing on running back, wide receiver upside later on in the draft.
My bet for MVP, I've got 2 of them, Mahomes, and the other one is Jalen Hurts at plus 800. Follow me on Betting Pros, bettingpros.com/Joe for all of my bets. But look, last year, people forget that Hurts went ahead of Mahomes, and then he got hurt for that same award. So I'm with you. In fact, I was in the Flex League a few weeks ago. D-Bro and I were at that draft. I had the 2 pick in that Super Flex. Hurts went 1. I thought for sure Mahomes would go 1. I was at the 2 spot, and I was going to take Hurts. Did not happen that way. I had to sell for Mahomes, but oh well, woe was me. Life will go on. But still, I don't think it's a crazy thing at all to think that Hurts is that guy who will finish as the QB1 this year. All right, D-Bro, one more name on the list for you. Who was a league winner in 2023?
Such a terrible consolation prize for Patrick Mahomes, Joe. I feel so bad for you.
But
But
sad.
again, if you're in drafts right now and you miss kind of that wide receiver avalanche in the first 2-3 rounds of drafts, 4 rounds, what have you, the consolation prize that I'm going to be drafting everywhere this year, and I've been talking about it, I'm going to keep talking about it here, is Diontae Johnson, baby. What do we not like about Diontae Johnson? I like targets. You like targets. We all like volume. We know Diontae Johnson's going to get volume. Last year, 13th in target share, 10th in red zone targets. Oh gosh, he didn't score any touchdowns. Well, that's going to change this year. Kenny Pickett has been lighting it up in preseason. Diontae Johnson was the wide receiver 20 in expected fantasy points per game. You go rewind to the 2 previous seasons, wide receiver 8, wide receiver 22. He is a league winner. He has wide receiver 1 upside this season, and you can draft him as a wide receiver 3 still, which is absolute insanity right now, guys.
Yeah, this is a great list of names. And don't forget, everybody, to use your cheat sheets, use Draft Wizard, make sure you're targeting these players to win your leagues. And I was thinking, Derek, for that whole Mahomes consolation prize, people do feel bad. Maybe we'll set up like a charity thing. I'll get Sarah McLachlan maybe to sing a song. We'll get a commercial out there.
GoFundMe?
Yeah, well, not a GoFundMe. I don't think that's necessary, but maybe just like some sad music, like, when bald men have to draft Patrick Mahomes with the number 2 pick overall in a super flex, they could really use your help, and I'll have Chris work on that. He's not busy. He's not doing anything. We'll get him to make up that commercial. Mason Dodd, real quick, before we let you go, I'd love to get your take on the Jonathan Taylor situation. Is there any spot? I know there's always a spot, but what's the spot in your mind where Jonathan Taylor getting drafted at could make him a league winner this year?
Okay, I took him in last night's drafts at the 5-6 turn at pick 60, and the YouTube chat lit me up for it. They made fun of me to no end. I'd like maybe 2,000 people just sitting there laughing at me. So I would love to know your thoughts on that. Am I deserving to be laughed at for taking Jonathan Taylor at pick 60?
I got to tell you, Mace, I've dropped him all the way. He's down to where Kamara is for me. Like, he's outside the top 24 because, again, I just don't want to start off behind the 8 ball. Real quick, D-Bro, give me 10 seconds on your Jonathan Taylor redraft value now.
Right now, he's on my do not draft list. Mike Mayer and I drafted another FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship high stakes team, and I was like, no. He's probably not going to fall far enough to where I'm like, yeah, let's go with that. There's too many other wide receivers and running backs right now. So I'm just on board with people just going other directions wherever Jonathan Taylor is even on the clock for you.
I can't believe you got Mayor to do one of those leagues with you. I can't even get him to pick up a lunch for the two of us. I'm always paying every time. Mason Dodd, Fantasy Flock, go subscribe to their YouTube channel. Go follow him on Twitter. Mace, always so great to talk to you. And we want you to slow down with the drafts. Like, eventually, 500, 600, I think you're maxed out at this point. But we love you. We love having you on the show. I hope you win all your leagues. I don't want to hear about there's 11 losers. Because Mason Dodd in any league is a winner, in my opinion. D-Bro, Derek Brown, King of Bros, is going to be back with us a little later. We're going to have a PPR draft coming up pretty soon, so you want to stick around for that. Don't forget, everybody, when this ends here, it's going to redirect you to the next video that we've got going on. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us here on the YouTube channel because great things are happening. Coming up next, we're going to talk bounce back running backs with Jennifer Akins from 4for4 Football. So more Fantasy Pros Festival of Friendship continues right here on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.